In this clip, we're looking at the aggregation framework in MongoDB. We're using the movieDetails collection, and we're concentrating on looking at $bucketAuto and how it may be used in devising buckets and breaking the data into blocks and allocating a certain number of, or breaking the documents into blocks and allocating a certain amount of documents to each bucket. So when you're looking at $bucketAuto, could be comparing it or be contrasting it with the $bucket feature that we've looked at earlier. So the question we're trying to solve in this scenario is as follows. It says consider all movies split into 4 buckets and allow MongoDB to determine the boundaries for each of the buckets. For each bucket, calculate the highest and lowest runtime plus the number of movies that are allocated to the bucket. Ensure that only those fields essential to the aggregation are passed from stage to stage. So I'm just going to re-execute the actual aggregation. And so we've got here, when you look at the results, the documents, the result, there's 4 rows or 4 blocks appearing. So they're the 4 buckets. And what I want to look at here is the boundaries that Mongo has decided to work with. So the first bucket, it's the minimum value. In other words, the initial value is null, and the max value is 11. So that's up to 11, up to but not including 11. Okay. The second one starts at 11, and then goes up to 89, but it doesn't include 89. The third starts at 89, and it's up as far as but not including 106, and the last one starts at 106. And it goes up as far as up to but not including 551. So what we look at then is we look at the max runtime for the first bucket. You see there it's 10 rather than 11 because it's up to but not including 11. Hence the max runtime is 10. In the second bucket the max runtime is 88. In the third one it's 105, and in the fourth one it's 551. Okay, so that's because in the last bucket it is up to and including the final value. And the main runtime then in the first bucket is 1. In the second bucket the minimum runtime is 11. And third one it's 89, and the fourth one it's 106. So that's because the relevant buckets start at 11, 89, and 106, and they include that value. So the second bucket starts at including 11, so it's 11 or more. And then how MongoDB did in terms of distributing the movies per bucket. It put 598 into the first bucket, it puts 576 into the second bucket, 602 into the third, and 519 into the fourth. So there's probably it's about maybe between the third and the fourth is a gap of about 80 between or 83 I think it is, between 519 and 602. So the other aspects of this example that we need to look at is there's a project stage. Before the bucketAuto stage, we have a project stage. And if you look at the actual scenario, the only field in a collection that we're interested in is the runtime field. So that's why we have project ID underscore 0 or underscore ID set to 0. That means it's not passed on. Whereas runtime is :1. So runtime is the only detail about each movie that's passed, that makes it to the second stage, the bucketAuto stage. So then we're grouping by runtime, and we've asked for 4 buckets. But unlike the where we use the $bucket approach, we don't have to specify the boundaries. This is what MongoDB works out itself. It calculates the boundaries itself. And then for the output, we have to specify an output because we want 3 pieces of data for each of the summary documents that's created. So we've got the max runtime, which is based on $max runtime, the minimum runtime per bucket based on $min runtime, and then the number of movies per bucket based on $sum:1. So hence we have to have an output, because if we don't put in an output part of the process, then all MongoDB will be able to do is count the actual documents in each stage. So if we want a max, a min, etc., we've got to add in this output component to the whole process. So that's how to generate. Let MongoDB determine the number of documents per bucket. So if we look, then we're going to then maybe take it a step further, and we're going to look at just those movies that have a runtime in excess of 0. So we're eliminating the movies that don't have an actual value for their runtime. And again, it's the same, exact same, bar that first part of the question. The rest of the question remains the same. So we're looking we're only, on this occasion, we're only considering movies that have a value for runtime in excess of 0. So we're going to generate 4 buckets again, and we have the same criteria, looking for the highest and lowest runtime values plus the number of movies that are involved. So what you'll notice in this example is we have a match stage before the project stage, and the match stage is only allowing through to the next stage those movies for whom the runtime value is greater than 0. So that's why you have $ greater than and 0. So fewer documents are going to get passed to the project stage and hence onto the $bucketAuto stage than happened in the previous, for example 25. Okay, example 25, all movies got through to the bucketAuto stage, whereas in example 26, because of this match stage, only the documents that have or the movies that have a value for runtime in excess of 0 are going to get passed to the latter stages. So the output and the other aspects of the scenario remain the same. So I'll clear the screen on my right hand side. Or actually, I won't clear the screen. I'll leave it so that both answers can be viewed at the same time. So we can maybe look at the difference. So the main difference is that the distribution of documents in the first example, where we didn't eliminate those that were null, we got in the smallest bucket we have 519 documents, the last bucket here, and the second last bucket we have 602. So as I said earlier on, that's 83. There's an 83 documents fewer in the last bucket than there is in the second last bucket. Whereas when we change the criteria, or we include this $match stage, and we only examine and allow through those for whom the runtime is above 0, we still get 4 buckets as per the question, but the big difference this time is they're distributed a lot more evenly around throughout the 4 buckets. So here we have in the first value back, the first row or the first document in the summarized block is 467. The second one is 466. The third one is 478, and the fourth document is 452. So the widest gap between those in terms of the number of the variation is that there's 16 of a gap between, or sorry, there's 26 of a gap. Okay, between 452 and 478, there's 26 documents of a difference. Okay, but apart from that, they're evenly spread. Okay, they're more evenly spread than they were in the earlier scenario. So that's the benefit in terms of trying to distribute the documents more evenly, is the match stage to dismiss or to eliminate those documents that have a runtime that's unknown. Will facilitate a more even distribution of documents. So that's the end of the clip on the $bucketAuto.